What's going on, fellas? Welcome to the YouTube live streaming event, the FDL 2019-2020. I'll get this now. The voice will be better now. 2019-2020 FDL Season Award Show. I am one of your hosts, the commissioner of the FDL, Darren Shervitz, and alongside me, once again, I have Fred, the Bulldog, Pila.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the end of year award show. Can't wait to get it started. Looking forward to finding out who won all the awards.
Me
all
too.
The most deserving candidates.
And I noticed, by the way, I'm going to bring in the other co-host in a second, but I noticed you are dressed up for the event.
Well, I figured this was a fine event to actually break out a button-down shirt that I haven't looked at in over a month.
Yeah.
So, nothing like an award show to get you dressed up and, walk the red carpet.
You'll notice I'm wearing the same shirt I wore the first time. In fact, this is what I've worn since the first podcast.
I figured that you
about
didn't
a month
change that
ago.
at all.
The good
You
news
just showered with it.
Yeah. No showers. What's shower? Okay, and also, so that's Fred, and I'm bringing along the other co-host, the original Jay-Z. What's up, buddy?
What's up, Jay-Z, the original?
Hey, what's up, guys? I cannot hear the commish. I can hear Fred clearly.
What, you can't hear me?
I'm not hearing a word Darren is saying. That might be a good thing for the broadcast.
No, that's a
talk
problem.
Right over him.
Were you hearing me before? Before the air? Before we went
Nothing.
Testing, 1, 2. Again,
Yeah, Fred, you're fine, but I just can't hear Darren.
once again, we have technical difficulties.
Okay, so obviously the audience, the YouTube audience is hearing me because they're, So, Jay, you may want to try and reboot something. This is going to be an awkward hour of...
This is hard. This is difficult.
of streaming. Fred, tell him what I just said.
Jay, you may want to try and reboot.
Or something.
I'll leave and come back.
Leave and come back.
All right.
And so, now that we have this time, let's talk about Jay.
Absolutely. Oh, well, honestly, our special guest is waiting in the wings. So if Jay can't get involved, we may just have him be a third.
By Gary Belsky?
Well, you just revealed our special guest. We have, already watching, we have Abraham, who says business casual Fred. We got, let's see, Wyden, Jay Stark.
Brett. We got Ryan.
And Ben.
Nigel.
Let's go. Ben's ready.
Ben.
Everyone's ready to hear the big event. Jay, we're bringing you back in. Can you hear me now?
Now, perfectly.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
And all you missed was me blowing the special guest. Ooh, that sounded weird.
What kind of a show is this?
Wow.
All right, well.
No, that will come later.
that does come later.
Gary's
That
excited
you did
for
not
that.
intend. What comes later? Wow.
Uh-oh. Brett says the broadcast is frozen for him. Anyone else? Pause?
No, everybody seems okay.
All right, well, Ryan's doing well. So anyways, here we are. We're talking about Fred got dressed up in a little button down. I thought about wearing some sort of, like tux little bow tie or something. But Jay, what about you?
Yeah, no, we were going to wear bathrobes this morning to model ourselves after our host and the commissioner.
Yeah.
But because I'm in quarantine and out in Nassau and don't have access to much clothing other than my father-in-law's, I figured this was the most appropriate look. And of course, I'm representing the Zimner Invitational.
Coming up
on my head.
And he's already wearing his father-in-law's underwear. It's
now been of course postponed like most other major events.
Yeah.
We're looking at October dates, October 19th.
Oh.
If we should be so lucky.
I'll mark it in my calendar. Everybody mark October 19th in your calendar for the Zimmer Invitational. A great golf outing with a poker tournament after. Lots of fun. Some celebrities show up. It's a good time.
And,
Thanks for the
and
plug,
can you
Fred.
talk about some FDL participants in previous years? I mean, I've participated.
Gary's participated. Some
Brett.
former.
Brett
Brett
takes
takes
pictures
photos.
every
He
year,
works it.
and he finished in the top 10. I think he finished in 5th last year at the poker tournament.
Nice.
So he's
Right.
done very well at that.
We have
And then
some
we have
former players.
FDLers. We have Ari Yulkut, who's always there.
Uh-huh.
I'm trying to think of who else has participated.
Did you
here?
send?
FDL.
Did you ever send marketing to our group or no?
Yes.
I mean, I haven't done any mass marketing of it, but I will this year.
Awesome. All right. Well, let's get to it. So the agenda for today is we're going to go over the 4 major award categories we have very briefly to start, and then we're going to bring in our special guest and we're going to interview him for a little bit, and then we're going to go. Then Jay's going to reveal. Jay's been tallying all the numbers and the results, and he's going to reveal the official award winners. So let's start off our discussion with the Chad.
The Chad.
Okay, we'll start with
The Titus race.
But yeah, the chat is a beautiful place to start. And as most of everyone on here knows, this is the award that's given to the Gentleman of the Year. And gentleman means different things to different people. And it's the only category where I think the 3 of us agreed not to lean in any one direction and allow the league to decide for themselves who was most deserving of this award. And naturally, and as a result, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 different members of the league who received at least a first, second, or third place vote in this category. The names of the members of our league that received votes in no particular order: Ben, Ola, Darren, Alexi, Akiva, Nigel, Brett, T, me, Mushi, Abraham, and Ryan.
Those are some fine gentlemen. You will
All
notice
worthy except for Brett.
you will notice that
And Darren, I'm sorry.
I was gonna say you will notice Fred's not even on there.
Not even close. I didn't even vote for myself. I know.
Well,
I didn't lie.
It's because of comments like that.
Exactly.
Exactly. And grabbing Miles by the shirt collar did.
I'm gonna try something. I'm gonna see if this works. I just want to see for later. I don't know if this is gonna work, but we'll see if this works. Hold on. Let's see. I'm gonna try something right here. Oh, look. So here we go. These are the previous award winners.
Oh, wow.
For
very nice, Darren.
Yeah, we're stepping up the production values here for the Chad FDL Gentleman of the Award 2009-2010. Maba Ba was the original inaugural winner of this award. Again, the award was created in an attempt to bring some added civility and love back to the FDL.
Wow, Zeth won it. A tie with Maba. Interesting.
Yeah, Zeth at once was a gentleman before.
But you winning this in 14-15 definitely has to give this whole award a little bit of a dark star.
No, I don't think so at all.
I mean,
were
you just a completely different person in 2014-15 than every other year I've ever played with you?
Oh my God! It was clearly before you were in the league.
No, I was, because that's the year I ran the marathon. So I'm pretty sure that's the first year I played.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, then everyone realized what I was dealing with you, and was like, they were impressed. I didn't ever take a swing, and Shy Silver. So Maba Ba was the original winner. We called it the Maba after he won the award, but because we discussed this last time, because of some bad attendance behavior and other things, we had to take away the namesake from the Maba and give it to our second year winner, which I was very happy to do because he's my brother and it's a beautiful name as well, the Chad. So this year we're going to see who's winning. As Jay revealed, there's like 13 people up for consideration who got at least some votes, and we'll discuss that later in some detail. Let's move on to our second
category.
Yeah, second
category. Award.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I think. Go ahead, Darren.
No, I'm trying to host the show and also try and bring in some of these comments.
Well, I think we should go with the.
Yeah. Well, I do want to.
The most improved.
Well, Fred, 1 second. I want to apologize to Miles, who actually won the Zimner Invitational Poker Tournament 2 years ago. Miles, you're very deserving. I'm sorry I forgot about you, buddy.
Yeah, I sat at the first table with him that year. He was on fire.
Miles played like a while. I was at the final table with him. I didn't cash because there was like you only paid like $9 or something, but it was something like that. But yeah, he was. I literally have never seen anyone play as crazy as he played, and he got so fucking lucky. I mean, let's be real. The kid got so lucky. Abraham is saying we should maybe rename the award to the J. I mean, if Jay gets sick, maybe we'll consider it, or something, something.
Jesus, God forbid, man.
I
love you, Abraham.
Yeah, and because he won it so many times. I already put this up. I'm going to put it up again because, I mean, this is worth discussing. I get a bad rap. I really do. I believe that's true. Nigel thinks I'm looking like Leonardo. I'll take a Leo reference anytime I can get it. Let's see. Lots of
Carrie, come in here. Come read this.
Oh yeah, this facial hair is Ben. I decided it's whatever happens till I think Trump has come out with some like phase relaxation of the current social distancing rules. Well, we're not getting into politics, but I will just say that this beard is going to continue to do whatever it's going to do until well past phase 3. And then I'm probably going to shave everything. I'm going to go, for the first time in a long time, beardless. Beards are germ catchers. We don't, I don't know about that. I think that's one of the falsehoods of
Brett, are you still shaving? I doubt it.
I bet you Brett's shaving. Although okay, big news, by the way. Brett was officially diagnosed as having the COVID and officially recovering. And he has strong antibodies in his blood. And I don't know, Brett can tell us. He tells us he is still shaven, but he could tell us, has he donated plasma yet? Is that part of his plan in the near future? We'll wait for his answer to that. And in the meantime, we're going to move on to the next award category,
which will be most improved.
Most improved. Thank you, Fred, for leading this. As I want to bring on some of these comments, so if you guys want to take over hosting, that's good. So talk about the most improved. Guys.
Most improved. There were 6 people receiving votes. Gary, T, Alexi, Jay, Fred, and Lewis.
Gary, T, Jay, Fred, Alexi, and Lewis. Okay.
Now, the vote for Lewis was the votes for Lewis were nice. It was more for his comeback at the end of the year. Coming back it was
actually it was a very interesting vote. I don't know if we have to go into great detail as to who voted for Lewis as being most improved, but it was definitely as a result of being matched up with him earlier in the year. And then having to match up with him after he came back and being very appreciative of the way Lewis toned down his game to match the level of the people that he was playing with. So it actually came from one of the people that he would go up against every week. So I thought that was a nice little tribute.
And a deserving vote. Lewis. And a deserving vote at that. Without
a doubt. Yeah. No doubt. And then obviously, Gary had his heart surgery last year, so the fact that he was able to be a regular participant this year, I think, is a feat of both modern medicine and the incredible genes that run in our family. Resilience.
He's your North Star, Darren.
He's your North Star.
I'm hoping I don't follow his trajectory exactly. I'm hoping I can bypass the heart issues, but that's probably not going to happen, considering both my father and my grandfather had pretty early heart conditions. So, sad. Makes me sad. But again, we have something to look forward to. Modern medicine has come a long way. So, anyway.
So most improved. It was a tight.
Oh, let
race.
me share my screen for that too, so we can see the previous winners. That was so exciting when I did that, wasn't it?
A lot of guys that are up for it were past winners.
So here we got the original. It's named for Jay Singer, which if you guys don't know Jay Singer, he played with us a while back. He was a recovering Orthodox Jew. And
One way of putting it.
no, he was. I mean, his family. I don't remember the exact details, but they were very disappointed with the how his religious
A lot of two-time winners on this
philosophies.
one.
Yeah, and we had one two-time winner back to back, which is kind of crazy because Harvey Fine
Twice he had that because Chris tied for it and then won it the next year. So twice he had two back-to-back winners.
Yeah, that's kind of tough to justify given, but I guess you can improve to one level and then the next year you just keep taking it up a notch. Clearly, Chris, after his 2012-2013 win, has deteriorated greatly. Brett is, by the way, Brett is telling me he's not just Orthodox; he was Hasidic. So I mean, serious.
Now I understand it more.
Akiva says his parents are disappointed in him, but not because of his religion.
Penis size. Penis size.
Is that a source of parental
There's
disappointment?
Fred, there's a lot of penis references in this broadcast today.
Wait, Fred, you won in 2016, 2017?
Yes, that's the year I led the league. It set the record for sacks, I believe.
Wow. Yeah, and we know you sucked the year before that. So, okay, I'll take this off, and we'll go on to the next category. Next category being
rookie of the year.
Well, Rookie of the Year, I thought was going to be the most exciting of the award categories, and it actually pretty much turned out that way. The early balloting had it tied, and then one player would go ahead and one player would fall behind, and vice versa. And as we will reveal the winner in just a little while, I do want to mention that 6 of our outstanding rookies received at least one vote. Chris YG, Ola, Avraham, Ryan, Ben, and Akiva.
Probably the greatest rookie class of FDL history. I mean, I don't know all of its history, but this really was an exceptional rookie class.
It's not even close. Great rookie class in terms of quality and gentlemanliness, and is that a word? I don't know. No. And civility and just bringing energy and attendance, all of it. Best rookie class by far. It's not even a question mark. We obviously had on our first video event a couple weeks ago the 2 primary candidates. It's just because of the stats. It was pretty clear who the leading contenders were, and again, a very close race. And I'm excited to hear who our winner is going to be in a little bit. Let's take a look at our previous best rookies. Let's see how many of them are still in our fine league, and we can discuss maybe some of them if we. Well, that's why. Oh, by the way, as I bring this up, Abraham was mentioning. I think he's talking about Akiva. Loves talking about his penis. So, Akiva, if you want to type in anything related to your penis, and I'll highlight the comments, I'll be happy to do so. But
I do want to make mention that one of the reasons why this rookie class has stood out, aside from its gentlemanliness and its exceptional play, is that there's great hope that there's going to be sort of a movement towards this becoming the core of the FDL. There are strong feelings that among the 6 people that I just mentioned, and then a few others, that they'll continue to be common players, weekly players, so on and so forth. So we're looking forward to moving forward with them. As you mentioned, that most of the Rookie of the Year awards winners may or may not be playing with us anymore. Although, now that I look at it,
most of them are at least somewhat involved in the league. Now they may not be regular attendees anymore, but they always claim they're coming back. So it started with Josh Northridge, first winner. He moved, I think. I don't know what happened to him. At one point, really nice guy, good guy, and probably no one besides me remembers him. But he had a good first year, and for some reason his email stopped working, and maybe that was planned by him to no longer be bothered by me. But Jack Antaby kind of disturbs me that he won that. But Jack the Smack Antaby, who we just were we had a poker tournament last week online, and after the tournament we stayed on Zoom and reminisced a lot about the FDL, and he's such a character.
He still swears he's coming back.
Yeah, he still swears he's coming back. He's still young enough to come back.
I really hope that he does, and just to torment you.
Oh yeah, he's got my number on the field. But Rick, obviously awesome, and
what a loss that is. It's amazing he hasn't come back.
Toe tap. He's going to be back. No, he'll be back.
He keeps saying it, but the more they stay away, I think the
T1 best rookie. That had to be a weak year for rookies.
No, he was the only rookie.
He was the only rookie.
He might have been the only. I'm not. It's not even.
Right. I think I looked back. He may have been the only rookie in 2007, 2008. Not to take anything away from one of my favorite people and one of my favorite players, but I think it was by default that TX won the Rookie of the Year.
But you didn't have to mention it.
I just thought it would liven the broadcast a little bit.
It did.
If T was here, definitely would live in, but he's clearly late. We're going to talk about T because apparently he didn't even send in his votes for
T's
the
late.
MVP.
Get out of here.
And we have Maba. We have Angel. I don't think I even know his last name, but he was a soccer player, and he knew nothing about the sport when he started playing with us. I mean, he literally, he just was like, he liked to run around, and but another, he was just a good dude, great character. No idea.
Darren, scroll up a little bit so that we can see below the.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we can't see what
comments.
The comments.
Yeah, you can move.
There it is. Good.
So then we had Zeth won, and then he ended up dominating the league for several years, winning, as we'll see in a little bit, multiple MVP awards. We have Zach, who wish we saw more of him.
Take over a game anytime he plays.
Yeah, he was a great addition. Cerulli, who another one who he's in the area and he keeps saying he'll come out, but he keeps just pumping out children, and I think has trouble getting convincing his wife to come back out. And
well, there was that one game he brought the kid to like a snowstorm.
That was the one moment I felt a little disturbed.
I was like, you should go home, dude. You should take that kid and go home.
It was not just a snowstorm. It was like freezing outside. And the kid was in a
stroller. It was just, and there was nobody. We only had enough to play. So like the kid was all by himself on the side of the field.
Well, they're young enough at that age. And by the way,
I don't know. I don't have kids, but I was like, you should go home, dude.
He's probably half comatose anyways. Oh, God, there's so many comments I want to throw in there. So talk about the last couple of players, and I'll try and get some of these comments up there.
Well, then you have Lewis, of course, who, as soon as he stepped on the field, I think we all knew he was going to be working. He probably got MVP that year, too. I mean, I have to imagine. Right, Jay?
2016, 2017 MVP may have been Zeth again.
Oh, okay. And then Joel Rosen, who was a great player in the league for a while, and we haven't seen him in a while either.
Who's this? Joel. Yeah, Joel. Joel got hurt. I think
he had several injuries. Yes,
concussions. He had a back issue, and
I knew he wasn't coming back to one game that he just stayed on the sideline with the two girls, and we all played. That was it for him.
Did I not? Why are people saying 13-14? There were awards in 13 and 14. Maybe we had no rookies that year, though.
Go back down to most improved if you can and see if there was a 13-14. No. That's MVP.
Whoa. Yeah, we had
Brett.
Oh, 14-15. That one, it was no 14-15 for most improved. I'm assuming
there's 13-14. Brett, yeah, okay.
But not
14-15. We don't have like a stat company keeping track of all these.
Yes, we do. His name's Darren Chervitz.
Basically.
He's not a company though. He's not being paid.
But if there was an award, I put it in there. For whatever reason, we didn't have. We changed categories because we used to have other categories. I'll show you here. We used to have a most dedicated award. We used to have worst injury award. We ended that because I thought that was too gruesome.
That was a little dark.
Yeah. We had a most missed award, and we had that just as recently as a couple of years ago when Maba
17-18,
abandoned us. And so anyways, if we had the award, it would be there. I've yet to hear Akiva talk about his penis. I'm still waiting for that, but there are a lot of nice comments going on. Okay, so that's the FDL Rookie of the Year, and
Rookie of
again,
the Year.
definitely one of our best classes. And then finally, of course, there is perhaps the most prestigious award, and it's the MVP. And Jay, do you want to talk a little bit, and Fred, about?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I was. Let me jump in first. I mean, I was impressed with the number of members of our league that received MVP votes. Again, there was probably only one that was done in jest. Ultimately, I think once we reveal the winner, most everyone will agree that the person is very deserving. And it was, an interesting year, to say the least. Some of our better players. I mean, we'll see when we reveal the number of votes that were tallied. This actually ended up being, I think, the biggest landslide of all four categories, of all four awards. So,
Yeah.
Fred, anything to add on that?
It's an interesting, because there are a lot of players who all played very well this year, and they all seemed deserving. It was a very level playing field for the most part.
Right.
Until you get to the very top. And there are a lot of guys who, you can make a case for probably 5 or 6 guys to all be MVPs this year. There were 3 guys who stood out amongst everybody else that much. So it was an interesting MVP case. But, I think we all know how it turns out.
Well, and again, MVP voting has been interesting to me since I was a little kid, in trying to understand where the media was coming from when ultimately deciding who the most valuable player in the league
was. Was it the best player or the most valuable player?
Right. And do those mean different things? And what do they mean to different people? And so I'm just interested to maybe we can discuss, once we reveal who received votes and why they received votes, maybe why people were selected for MVP and why others weren't. So I'm looking forward to that final discussion. Former MVPs?
Yeah, these are the former MVPs. And before we get that, I am curious. Nigel will hopefully reveal why his YouTube screen name is Angwe. I guess that's how you pronounce it. I don't even know. But Alexi says he is definitely going to start calling him Angwe.
And
that's why Alexi only received one
Gentleman of the Year.
By the way.
And it was by him.
We'll talk about, no, I did it because I was thinking because I thought Alex, I've said this many times, and I said it, I think, in the last video, is that he is sneakily, he's kind of like a mean character. Like, his jokes have an edge to them, which are, I enjoy and appreciate a great deal, but it certainly doesn't correlate well with
if you're thin-skinned, it's not a good idea to hang out.
But I always think on the field, he never causes issues. And when I said this, we were talking about the show last week with Fred and Jay. Fred's eyes immediately rolled. I mean, they were like, "Are you kidding me? Alexi is a jackass on the field." And I didn't
say jackass. I just said Alexi will quietly drive you crazy by this comment or that comment, and then if something really big happens, he can get into it. He can.
There was one specific moment where Alexi was involved, and may have been in a returned special teams kickoff touchdown that was disallowed, or an argument at the goal line in one of our many games. And I just remember Alexi saying, okay, that's how you guys want to play? That's how you want to win? Fine, have it that way. Feel good about it. I hope you feel really good about it.
Wow.
Like, whoa.
All right, well,
he happened, by the way, Alexi happens to be one of the smartest players that we have out there. Anybody that has that quick a wit.
Alexi's extremely fun to play with and against.
So smart and so funny. I'm really glad that
I also think I've never, again, he'll make comments, I guess, but I just always see him as being a relative peacemaker on the field.
Here's the one thing. I would love to hear what Alexi doesn't say, what he holds himself back from saying on the field, because that's probably where the comedy gold is.
Alexi just wrote that Ola is a cheater.
Let's see here. So our previous, again, the first one was Mike Costa. Still Facebook friends with him, by the way.
Get him out there.
he had a no, I don't. He's it's been a long time since he's played, but he was a true gentleman as well. Really nice guy. Orrin, myself, Gary won. Then we had Jeff Kraft, Harvey, and then we had some multiple year winners. Rob won twice in a row. Zeth won 3 years in a row.
You
Still
gotta
a
move it
feat.
down there.
Yeah, okay. And still a feat that hasn't been duplicated. And then we had Maba. Orrin won again. His last.
I have to say, the 16-17 year, I really felt Nigel was robbed that year. His quarterback play was amazing, and he led the league in interceptions again. I know Orrin won it. The votes are there, but I have to give Nigel some props. He got robbed that year.
That's fair.
Okay, I
Orrin
don't.
had an outstanding year at quarterback as well, Fred. They were
He
neck
did,
and
but
neck.
that's why I say Nigel got robbed, because Nigel's
He
defense
did. Nigel was better
amazing.
way better on defense. Always has been.
Well, we made up for it the next year when he won when he shouldn't have. So that was a.
I wonder who should have won that year.
I don't know. I didn't look, but I'm pretty sure that was a sympathy vote.
Well,
No, so-
Darren, I remember you ended that year, kind of focused on your campaign for MVP, and I think that you had a stretch where you threw 22 touchdowns against 1 interception. And if you didn't make it just overly clear to me, and when I was writing my recaps, you may have told everybody in their ear, look what I've done in the last 5 games, but unfortunately it didn't help you get the votes that you were looking for.
I'm not sure. Yeah, that probably was part of my goal. But yeah, there was. I don't remember. I'm really joking because my memory goes back just 1 week, maybe. I don't
And then
really
Lewis
remember.
last year.
Lewis, of course, last year won, and then this year we're gonna see in a little bit who is gonna be our winner. As Jay said, we have one clear candidate. You might be able to guess who that is. You might not, but we'll reveal in a little bit. And now it's time to do our special. We're about halfway through the podcast, and we're gonna do our special interview. Last time we interviewed the rookies, Ryan and Ben, who were up for leading contenders for Rookie of the Year. And this year, we are going to go, putting my cursor over his name right now, the really, in many ways, the ultimate legend of the FDL.
The stalwart of the FDL.
Stalwart. It's a great word to use. The 2007-2008 winner of the MVP in the FDL, still kicking it at the age of...
Former Chad winner.
He did not win the Chad.
No, never. We'll get into that in just a second. Come on.
I mean, you scared me there. Okay, we are gonna bring in now the one, the only, my cousin, a good friend, Gary Belsky. What's up, Gary?
Sometimes I wonder. I don't know a lot about the elevator repair business, and so I imagine sometimes that they use.
Oh no! Now I can't hear Gary.
I imagine sometimes that they use toxic chemicals, which can only explain Fred thinking that I ever had a job at the tap.
It was a little bit of a joke.
All right, I'm gonna. Jay has left us because apparently he has some issue where he can only hear some of the people in there. But thank you for joining us today, Gary.
Yes, thanks for coming on.
Oh, my pleasure.
How has your coronavirus experience been?
I think like everybody else's, it's a little bit. My work is still pretty busy, so that's helpful, and I'm constantly devising strategies to divide up my day and sort of make it and figure out ways to sort of like socially distantly interact with people and stuff like that. But also, in addition to coronary artery disease, which is our family inheritance, my mom, like your dad, actually, I think also my mom gave me sort of a very good brain chemistry. And so just in general, like, I'm just generally in a pretty good mood most days. Like I think your dad is, right? My mom was certainly like that. I think your dad, our parents were first cousins. Right. And so part of me is just like, I'm stupidly better than I should be because I live alone and I'm a hyper extrovert. So I really need to interact with people. I had when Jay Zimner, before he abandoned New York City, like some people did, I got him to go on a walk in Riverside Park with Kasten. By the way, you could not have seen a more neurotic Jew than Jay Zimner, like, worrying that somehow you're going to catch a virus on the continent of North America, which is essentially what you're doing when you're walking in the park. Jay, how you guys doing? How you been doing in the 3 weeks since we went on the walk? You guys got a lot of coronavirus that sort of swept through your house from passing by people, on top of a continental shelf?
Well, fortunately, we have no coronavirus to report.
Yeah,
but I must say that
the first person that walks in the park, the next person that walks in the park and gets it will be the first person that walks in the park and gets it.
Okay, but how did it manifest himself? Like, because what was he scared of sitting on benches, or like what was
No.
Let me jump.
Constantly making these references to, like, he basically went along with me and with my idea that we should go for a walk, but he was just constantly sort of like making comments that sort of suggested that, like, wanting to understand my theories about this, and my theories about this are, like, I'm not an epidemiologist or a virologist, but when the wind is whipping down, when the wind is whipping and swirling on the river, like, I'm not sure that's where people are getting sick.
So let me just jump in here to defend myself and also to add a little bit of color.
Kasten, by the way, had the necessary rationality and courage that you would expect from,
Allie's kid.
Gary explained halfway through the walk to Kasten why they send young people to war, and it was exactly for the reasons that Kasten was stating. He's not afraid of the coronavirus. They just have, this.
Well, they also aren't getting sick by it. I mean, God, thank God. But like, it's kind of. I mean, my kid would be she'd be a disaster if she knew kids were like in real jeopardy from this. So like,
Gary,
I'm doing the things they're telling you to do, which is.
So Gary, let me just jump in. I want to compliment.
Right, you're not being dumb. You're just
at all.
Darren, Darren, one second. So I start to communicate with Gary at some point because he's one of my favorite people to communicate with. I find him to be very intelligent.
Haven't heard from him in 3 weeks. Have not heard from him in 3 weeks. My favorite people to communicate with.
And by the way, we are going to have to get into this. The Gary Zimner rivalry is like it's like slowly starting to creep up. They were as tight as thieves.
There's no rivalry.
A little bit.
Brad are genius team makers. He's a great human being. He completely has everybody but me fooled about his gentlemanness. By the way,
no, me too.
I've
seen the real Jay Zimner come through.
When his team is losing and then something good happens and he thinks that they've been wrong, he'll like scream like a maniac. I don't understand how nobody. I guess because we're often playing against each other, I hear it. I want to punch him in the face. I don't, but it's like, oh my God.
Hence why Gary's never won.
But I know.
By the way,
shocked that like anybody can get that like sort of joyously angry because somebody caught a touchdown pass. And
Alexi also knows he's not a gentleman.
Yeah, well, of course, because Alexi can Zimner all the time.
All right.
That's what I say. Gary made a comment in the comment section about Alexi pulling a Zimner in terms of his mean commentary and joking.
Right. There's a meanness that Jay has because he spends so much time in life trying to be a good guy, by the way, which totally is. But he has this sort of latent meanness that'll come out in places in like very sneaky needle-like, targets.
It's definitely there. But let me just go back.
Brimming at the top. I've always thought we vote Jay the most likely to be a serial killer.
Did you say rapist or serial killer? I didn't.
Serial killer. No, you never rape anybody.
Jay's wife will confirm every single thing I'm saying. By the way.
Yeah, but going to a guy's wife to talk bad about him is not exactly fair. Everybody's wife now can do that.
Please, just give me 1 second. Really brief story. So just please 1 second. At the beginning of the coronavirus outbreak and all of the fear and the concerns that we had as Americans and especially as New Yorkers, Gary and I connected, and Gary invited me on a walk in Central Park, and I figured it'd be a good way to get out, see one of my friends. We could keep our distance. I take Kasten out, get some of his energy out, and so on and so forth. And I get to the park, and there's Gary, and I'm excited to see him. and he's chomping on the biggest hunk of chewing gum you've ever seen in your life. And with every word that he speaks, there's spray coming out of his mouth.
Which doesn't
And
matter
I
if
am
I'm 6
trying
feet
to,
apart from everybody.
I'm trying to avoid
No, it
all
does.
of the particles, right? And he's trying to explain to me, as a brilliant behavioral economist, why I am so wrong and why the percentages are so faulty in my brain and my concerns are so unreasonable. And in part, that's what I was looking for on the walk, was for this brilliant guy who I adore and look up to in many ways. He's not my North Star, but I certainly appreciate his intelligence. He could kind of bring me down and calm me down. But yet every time he'd say something to me that had some effect on me and was resonating, I was dodging his spit as he was talking. And it was making me nervous. I'm fine. You didn't get me.
I mean, let's be honest. The person here is the most to fear because of his age and his heart condition, and is Gary. I mean, and like he was probably worried about Caston. Where Caston been all this time, getting him sick. Oh, look, all right. So, anyways, Jay, why haven't you reached out to Gary anytime in the last few weeks?
I guess I'm not a very good friend. I figured I'd see him here. But I do love you, Gary, and I hope you're doing well, and I will plan on reaching out to you after this broadcast and being more connected.
And Gary, I'm still in the city. If you ever want to walk the dogs, give me a call.
Because you've been shamed into it. Brett, I'll go for a walk with you.
Yeah.
By the way,
I walk the dogs in the afternoon all the time. I'll give you a call.
You go with my brother too sometimes, right, Gary?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean,
Chad. It's the Chad. Who wouldn't want to be with the Chad?
Oh no,
I worry. I mean, obviously, Chad and Gary are both alone in a apartment, and it's funny. My brother has expressed the sentiment. He's kind of got a different mindset than Gary. I mean, this is something we can talk about, being like an extrovert. This is a very tough time for natural extroverts, I think. I mean, like, I'm kind of in the middle. I like talking to people, but if I'm home, I'm a homebody extrovert, I guess. So it's kind of it's good on the homebody front, but I do miss.
I'm a hyper extrovert. I need to.
And Jay clearly is as well.
All the time.
And Jay clearly is as well. I mean, like Jay is like, we were talking about this the other day. He's on Zoom like 20 hours a day, and like.
Jay's tough to diagnose. Jay may be a sociopath, to be honest with you. Like, he's very hard. Like when you see him in the mornings at those networking things. Like, I mean, he's a sociopath. I don't think there's a small percentage of sociopaths that end up killing people. Jay's not one of them. I actually don't think he's.
How did this become a segment about Jay anyway?
But Jay very well might be a sociopath. Like he is. I wouldn't even describe him as an extrovert. I don't know what he is. He's got like a whole.
I love having Gary stumped.
He is a sui generis personality. Like I've never met anybody like.
Oh, Jack's back.
Thank you, Gary. I'll take that.
Jack, you missed us.
And I think you contribute to society. Like you're not a sociopath who diminishes from society.
Okay, so Gary, I have a question.
Yeah. So the goal was we were going to do an interview, like we were going to each have some questions. We've talked a little bit. They want to get us back about football. Fred, can you bring the discussion? I don't know what your question was, but I have a football question. Let me start with the football question.
Go with your football question,
and then we'll
Alexis coming after you, Darren. No surprise.
No surprises, right? Who is your favorite FDL player of all time? Do you have a moment in FDL history which is most memorable for you?
Me?
Yes. This is your interview.
My favorite player of all time is the best player of all time, which is Jeff Kraft.
Okay.
I just think that, he had the best overall game of anybody who's ever played. And there have been a lot of very good players. Even the year that I was MVP, I was never the best player. So there's been a lot of very good players. My favorite FDL moment? I mean, the most memorable moment for me was when I don't know who was involved, and I have a lot of issues with Rob because he's a Trumper. But there was this moment where that guy who threatened to kill people with a gun, when deep down in the corner of the field near the end zone, there was a play involving that guy and somebody else. And that guy was kind of starting to look like he was going to beat up the other person. and Rob sprinted down the field to basically jump in and defend the guy who was just a regular on our at the FDL, and this new guy was they were like starting to fight on a deep bomb. I don't think I could have thrown it because it was way farther than my arm has ever been able to reach. But Rob sprinted down like in a very, sort of superhero way, probably exacerbating the situation, but nonetheless, it was impressive, like his loyalty to people in the FDL. Do you remember that?
I was not there on that game.
Oh.
It was a total sociopath game. That was what he was abbreviated TS. And apparently it was wacko doodle in terms of like there were like a group of a few guys who came to the game. I don't know if they knew someone or I don't remember the circumstances, but I do remember being told the story of Rob basically being fearless and jumping in to potentially get in between this crazy man and another FDLer. But now that was a very memorable moment in the FDL. By the way, we have Ari now also watching this broadcast along with Jack Anteby. So this is pretty impressive.
Maybe the greatest quarterback play caller in FDL history.
I'm going to ask Ari's question because I feel like it's just better than mine. So Ari wants to know who the most annoying arguer in the FDL was. According to Gary.
Is he asking me as a person who gets into arguments a lot?
Yes.
I'm assuming.
Yeah. I'm assuming he was probably saying it was you, but maybe I want to know who you feel the most annoying person to argue with in the FDL ever was.
Well, annoying is a funny word. Like the most frustrating person for me to argue with is Darren because first of all, he's commissioner, so you want to give him a lot of latitude, but he's also super, if I can tell you how many times the week after Darren announces that defense calls, but then he's involved in a fight when he's on offense and he overrules you. I can't tell you. So he's the most frustrating, but I would have to imagine that like I'm pretty annoying if you're arguing against me. I never had the privilege, so.
You never have arguments in your head?
Wait. Brett made two interesting points on the comments.
But I've lowered my arguments, or I've tried to over the past 2 or 3 years. Like I haven't been as argumentative, also because I recognize, like, for God's sakes, I'm being allowed to sort of play or have a crucial role when I'm, older than Moses. So I'm generally appreciative of that.
Yeah.
You've toned it down. Darren, Brett made a couple of interesting comments. He said one of his most memorable moments involving Gary was when he sprinted over to separate Gary and Marlowe, who ended up fighting one another, which I didn't know about until about a week ago.
Yeah, apparently Gary's been in 2 fights in the FDL.
There haven't been many fights in the FDL, but there have been more than I like. And Gary was involved in 2 of them. The only one where a punch was thrown, not connected.
What was the other one that I was involved with?
Michael Courtney. You guys.
A fight. We were wrestling on the line, and we just kept wrestling.
Well, at some point,
sure, it sounds like a little bit of a fight to me. A third grade fight, but yes.
By the way, that might have been one of my greatest moments because I actually threw him down, and Michael Courtney, like I got leverage because he's just he's a beast, and I got good leverage. But that was just like it just happened that we were like both holding on to each other. I think that happens a lot on the line. I never perceived that as a fight. Chad Marlowe and we didn't know each other, and we've become good friends. But yeah, that was crazy.
But I thought that was his brother.
That was in Morningside Heights.
It was in Morningside Park, and it was his brother. Wasn't it? Was I think it was.
No, there were those two. There was those other 2 brothers that Ari knew.
No. Chad's brother, I think his name was Justin Marlowe or something, was involved in this fight. I wish Marlowe was here. You might have your principal fight. I think was with the brother, and then Chad stepped in. Maybe if someone was there, it would have to be like Brett or someone could remember it.
I thought there were 2 other brothers that one of them was friends with Ari, and that they were on Chad's team or something. And one of them was on my team, and I don't remember what the fight was about. And Chad actually threw the punch.
Right.
He said something about like, which now that I know him is actually really uncharacteristic. He basically kind of set it up so that if I said some word, he would throw a punch, and I said the word. but like it's weird that he did that because like that's technically not Chad. He's a lawyer for a whole bunch of reasons. But and then he sort of took a swing at me, and I think I ducked it. It was a pretty slow swing, and then Brett or somebody kind of got it.
Wow.
Yeah.
There were a couple. There are a couple of other comments that have come in while you guys were talking that
We
were
shook hands at
actually.
the end of that game, by the way. Like even at the end of that game, you like in FDL tradition.
Did you win?
That's an FDL tradition.
Yeah.
You might
Get
be
out?
your life might be threatened, but at the end,
Wait, Darren. Before you move on, there were a couple of.
I'm
comments
not
that
even
were
going to put that on
pointed-
there. Brett,
couple of
that
comments.
YouTube's going to block that comment. Like
What
you
did he
wouldn't believe.
say?
He said you called him a Jew because Marlo's like half Jew. He's like half Catholic, half Jew. We call him a cashew, but apparently Brett.
Well, Darren, while you were interviewing Gary there, and Gary was answering the question, there were a couple of attacks made against you. One was recalling the events of Rob Cunningham. What was it? He ran 80 yards downfield to tackle one of the guys who threatened to go
On
and
a
get a gun.
60-yard field.
Yes. They were also claiming that you weren't there that game, and you also decided not to show up the following week because you were afraid that he was bringing his king back.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
No, this guy. I wasn't there, but they said like this guy said I'm going to bring my gang back, and I was like, well, I'm not going to fucking go to that. I mean, like, I love the FDL. But,
That's a good reason to miss a game.
yeah, I mean, I love the FDL, but I think I was out of town for real. But okay, whatever.
Yeah, whatever.
And then you get out of town to avoid the gang.
And then in typical Jack Anthony fashion, he has challenged you to a fight.
Yeah, Jack, please.
I want to remind everybody.
Jack is all talk.
Jack deals in like hair accessories. So I'm pretty sure Darren could take him in that fight.
Jack, I mean,
Wow.
Jack's a lot younger. He's probably.
Oh, I saw Jack on the
Darren, just
Zoom the other day. That could be a tough
He's got
one.
bad knees. Sweep his leg.
What, sweep his leg? Yeah, he does that bad. He
Put him in a body bag.
This guy, as I said, we reminisced about the FDL last week
mercy.
after a poker tournament, and he always claims he's coming back. But first of all, he always gets injured. He's had 2 ACL injuries. He's had now I think he's dealing with some hamstring issue, and then his wife has him by the balls because every time I say Doris, I love Doris, great woman, and I think they have. I always get this messed up. I think they have 10 kids, but I think
17 children now.
they might have 17 children. And so I think he always has to ask permission whether to come.
Ari is asking a lot of questions.
Ari wants to know. Ari's a great interviewer. And by the way, this is something else because when we were talking about what kind of questions we wanted to ask Gary, one of my questions was a little bit nasty in the idea of like you were my officiant as a wedding. We can talk about that because I think that's a fascinating thing you do.
People are more interested in the football than in the.
No, I understand that, but you're a wedding officiant, and yet you are a bachelor. And one of my questions, it wasn't a mean question, but it was like, how do you feel about bringing all these people together when you have yet to find the woman that is going to make you happy or unhappy for the rest of it. But they said, first of all, we don't want to ask Gary mean questions like that. And I said, well, I don't think that's a mean question. It's a fair
question.
It's a fair question. I think even at my wedding ceremony, one of the jokes you made was basically like you don't want to be normally taken.
Well, first of all, I don't think you said it was mean. You said it was sensitive.
I said, Darren, you're asking me a question and Jay wants to answer it.
No, go ahead.
I said, this is the point in the ceremony where I'm supposed to give you some advice, and you definitely want to take advice from a 50, whatever it was, 2-year-old back, 48.
Yeah, you were 40s. I think you were 49 then.
Yeah.
Something
well, first of all, I think I made a determination a long time ago that in order to play a peak performance in the FDL, I couldn't distract myself with a wife.
With a woman.
Well, we're all hoping for Lewis to
be distracted.
We're hoping that the marriage. But the other comment I made when they said you can't be, I go, Gary might be one of the, you are you are fascinating people, and you have no barrier. What's word?
I'm the least private I'm the least private appropriate person in America. Like I'm appropriate. Like I don't get I didn't have things in my personnel file, but I'm. I think people should share more information in general. You and I have that in common.
Yes, we do. And my ex-girlfriend, I remember this very clearly. You first met her at a ESPN at what's that called? The ESPN Zone. It was like a big dinner, and she came home and she was like, "I like your cousin Gary, but man, he asked some really personal questions." And so I'm like, if there's anyone who could take the other side of it, it should be Gary. I mean, if you're gonna give, you have to be able to take, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't. I would have no problem with any of the questions that you've asked.
Okay, so what about this one from Ari? Who's your least favorite FDL player?
Wow, that's a great question.
Wow, I'm shocked you're going to answer it.
Well, because I hardly ever.
Maybe. Yeah, go.
In general, you hardly ever think about it because the FDL is such a, whatever your phrase is, force for goodness and recreation, or it's just such a lovely group of guys. I think there is somebody, and I think he still plays regularly. I'm trying to think who it is who like always just annoys me. Somebody you must know. No.
We all annoy you.
I often know. No, I don't know. I mean,
maybe least favorite is not the way you want to word it, or maybe toughest to communicate with, deal with, or something like that.
I mean, the person that I struggle with the most in terms of like who I like and who we do fine as soon as the game is over is Moosh. Moosh and I often responds to my particular brand of
critique,
of enthusiasm and critique with like, he basically will get like, I always think he'll shut down if he's on my team and he thinks that I'm somehow disrespecting him, which I never mean to do because Moosh is obviously a very good guy. So Moosh and I often miscommunicate the most.
Mm-hmm.
But he's not my least, but I like playing with Moosh because he's a good player and a good guy. Let me think about it because I'm sure.
Okay. It's a good answer. It's a totally legitimate answer. I think Mooshie and Brett also, like Mooshi's one of those guys, like he does respond to criticism in a way which, I think he takes it more personal than you intend to.
I never mean it personally. Like
no, of course not. Mushi's one of the greatest guys. He's always up there for gentlemen of the year.
I have noticed over the years.
Did you see what
the opposite of Ryan.
Yeah.
The opposite of Ryan. Ryan for me is like the goats they put into the stalls with racehorses to calm them down. Like if you put Ryan on my team, it's the best. It's the highest likelihood that I will not be the worst version of myself during the course of the game. Like
I think that's true with all
I've
of
talked
us.
to Moosh about this at one point about
Ryan
like
knows how to talk.
his attitude during the game sometimes.
Yeah.
And he just said one thing. He's like, watch whenever like I make a sack or I make like a play on defense or something, or if I drop a pass, watch everybody's reaction to that. And like every time that guy makes a sack, it's questioned. And I would say 70% of the time, 30% of the time, it's overturned. And I was shocked at this. And I kept watching, and like he drops a pass, and everybody like all of a sudden like he's cut out of the game. He's not throwing the ball anymore. It's the weirdest thing. I don't think it's done intentionally. I don't think it's done like out of spite or anything. It's just the weirdest thing. I've watched it.
Wait. Are you talking about Mushi?
Yeah, I'm talking about Mushi. It's the weirdest thing.
I think no. So I think let me just get into the psychology, and then Gary can tell me why I'm totally full of it. But I think what happens with Mushi is he's categorized as like a special gifted athlete who, if he really wanted to assert himself on the football field, he could be as close to dominant as we have out there. And when he doesn't focus or he's really not feeling involved so much, he can be totally lost. And when he becomes totally lost, I think a lot of the quarterbacks will give up on just expecting him to do anything out there. And it can affect chemistry. And I don't think Mushi does it intentionally. I just think, unfortunately, he's a victim of what everybody's perception of him is, which is a great athlete, tall, long, quick, a good reactor to the ball.
I actually agree with Jay. I just think you took 3 minutes to say what you could have just said, which is Mushi's streaky, and usually what starts his streaks, the negative streaks are if something doesn't go well, somehow some dynamic, not just with me, but whatever, ends up all of a sudden doing a domino, and he sort of disappears for the game and then gets mad that he's not being, but he's streaky. But if he gets on a hot streak early, he's super effective. I just think he's streaky more than most of the people, right? Darren has good games and bad games, good parts of games and and bad parts of games just picking you randomly, Darren. But Darren can reverse it in either direction. It can be reversed multiple times in a game. Mushi just gets on streaks, I think. But you're right.
That's fair. You said that in about 3 minutes as well. But good job.
It's true. You did make the point. You could have ended it, but you kept going. And okay. So all right. We have. Let's get into. We're at the hour point. I'm sure people want to get into the awards. I'll keep Gary on. Why not? We'll have him.
One last football related question for Gary.
Why was I on?
Just to interview you as a legend of the league, as a
patriarch.
Special.
Legend might be a strong word, and that's me saying that.
Gary, one thing that was revealed to me, and maybe you had told me before and I had forgotten, but one thing on our COVID walk was that you actually used to be a receiver for many, many years, for I think 17 years of your life.
Not in our league.
Not in the FDL.
Yeah.
But is there anything that you wish the receivers of the FDL would do when you're playing quarterback that they don't do that you felt you were good at when you were playing receiver?
I mean, well, I mean, I'm not going to ever tell Zeth or Mushi or a whole bunch. I mean, no. I mean, in general, I think in the FDL, the most difficult thing is that sometimes people have a hard time adjusting their pattern once the ball's in the air to where the ball is going. Like, I think that's the hardest thing for some people. I think I was very good when I was a receiver. This is 25 years ago. I was good at kind of adjusting to the ball in flight path better than a lot of times it seems that.
Oh my God, that is so huge, Gary.
I think that's a vision thing, and I just think
there are some players, and they'll come back and they'll say your pass sucks, and I'm like, well, you can't track a ball because it was there for you, and I'm really thinking of like the one that comes really to mind is Oren, who would.
Oren needs you to very much use artificial intelligence to anticipate exactly where he's going to be. But what I was going to say about Jay, the best thing about Jay, by the way, in this whole hosting the FDL, whatever this is that Jay sometimes is going back a lot and looking at old stats, and Jay will be like, Jay will find out that I had like some season in which I threw 70 touchdown passes against 30 interceptions that I don't remember at all. And Jay will be like, dude, that was amazing. And that's super fun.
I have highlighted
Thanks, Gary.
Your MVP year. This is your stats from your MVP year. I thought you'd be interested in taking a look at it. You played in the most games that year, so you were a stamina, 23 games of the year. You had second most wins with 12, a winning percentage of 545. You caught a couple touchdowns, which is always a special treat. And here's the big thing, right? You caught 3 interceptions, also a rarity, I think, nowadays. Maybe you get 1 or a 2, maybe a year. But look at your TD interception ratio. 73 touchdowns to 31 interceptions. And 5 weekly MVP wins that year. 5 weekly MVP wins.
You have to put Jack's comment up.
I thought Jack was leaving, but he stuck around to give one more nice.
Here, Jack writes, Gary was a great receiver during the Vietnam War.
Yeah, we have it up, Jay.
By the way, just for the record, I started being a great receiver when I was 18, which wasn't that far after the Vietnam War ended. I was 18 in 1979. Like they were still locating MIAs in 1979.
All right, Gary, thank you for being a part of this.
We're gonna awesome.
Like I said,
we commend you as a long-lasting member.
I'll let you guys. I'll take myself off because I'll dominate the conversation.
Oh, okay, but one thing for the return when you were going through the heart surgery.
Yeah.
And the rehab. I mean, how big was missing FDL games and the appeal of hopefully being able to go back? Was it a factor at all?
Yeah. It was a heart procedure, I think, more than surgery.
Right. It's
an
angioplasty, not an open heart surgery.
All right. Somebody still went inside my.
All right. Let's stick something in your valve and see how you feel after.
Jay.
I will tell you that it took me a long time to get my cardiologist to okay it because she didn't sort of really because basically. It was super important. Because it's just so. I think for my mental health, the FDL is good, but also physically, I like the idea of falling down a lot. And as you guys know, I end up on the ground a lot. And my cardiologist, my cardiologist agreed because my heart is not the issue. I take medicine that if I get kicked in the head, that would be pretty bad, or hit in the head. But as I explained to my cardiologist, I move so slowly that I can usually stop myself from any play where my head might be in danger. But it just is really important because I just like the guys in the FDL so much, and like you guys, I'm encouraged this year by the quality of the rookie class. But just in general, I think the FDL is just a unique institution in New York, and I think it's good for everybody's health.
Just to end this on a note, Gary's first game back after his surgery, we were on the line together. I was going to be blocking him. He said, if I should get kicked in the head or start bleeding really bad, call the ambulance right away. And I was like, okay, how do I block this guy?
That was. By the way, he knew exactly what he was doing.
Yeah, I think he got a sack on that play.
Exactly.
Darren, I noticed you put up the op-ed that Gary wrote about the FDL, which is very nice. And then just to end on a little bit of sarcasm, Ari writes, does the heart medication affect running patterns and erections at all?
No, actually.
Ari is definitely our next interview.
It enhances both.
We should have Ari and Jack as our. I mean, that would have been a classic next interview for sure. All right, Gary, thanks again. So I'll remove you. But by the way, that link I'm going to put up one more time. If you haven't read the article, he wrote this a couple of years ago, published in the New York Times, mentioned Fred as an elevator worker and essential to this economy, and it's a beautiful piece, and you guys should read it.
It's a great read.
So thanks again, Gary, for being my North Star and for being an important part of the league.
Thank you, Gary.
Jay,
Love you, Gary.
I'll talk to you in like 6 months or something, right?
No, stop it.
Jay, we'll go for a walk. Gary, we'll go for a walk on Monday.
Raise your hand if you've abandoned New York City during the coronavirus. Oh.
Gary, Gary, let me turn this around. We have the Cardinals draft on Thursday. I'll be in touch.
Yeah. Okay.
Wait, Ari says he has one more question for Gary. So I have to. We'll wait. This is a good question. See, Ari is here it is. Ask him the order you would pick the three of us in.
Well, Darren's slowed down a lot, but Darren, Fred, Jay. Okay.
All right.
That was easy.
That was easy. Okay, wasn't as good of a question as I was hoping. All right. So, anyways, see you, Gary.
I just want to hear his name first.
Well, I knew that was coming. I definitely bring the most to the table of the three of us. All right. So
Jay is definitely, by the way, Jay has had a renaissance kind of season in my mind. Like Jay has just gotten generally. Jay's problem is that most of his stats are kind of in the middle of the game. Jay's value is often not in the end zone, although he plays good defense, and he's such a good pass rusher. But Jay just has a stats problem, right? He often gets pressure and helps cause a sack. Like Fred, often got sacks. Jay's problem is just like his strength is not stat revealed, but he's had a great season, I thought.
Right. He had a great season. Thank you. His strength has always been in the intangibles and team cohesion and him trying desperately to tamp down his sociopathic tendencies for the good of the team.
Let me just say, as the person who's most likely, when he hears the teams, to start explaining why they are unfair, like I thought the whatever magic that Fred and Jay do in creating these teams, like it's pretty impressive. Like we had very few widespread games.
I think games were by more than 3 scores.
That's crazy how close. Like in the old days, Darren, you and I can talk about this. Like there were definitely like just regularly blowout games where just one team, would sort of beat the other. I don't know. Maybe the stats suggest otherwise, but where one team would beat the other team by 4 touchdowns.
There were so many games at halftime where you were thinking maybe we should just restructure the teams and start over.
So the two of you, for that alone, are MVPs in my opinion.
One more question, Ari. So you picked the order you would pick us as football teammates. Now he wants to know the order you would pick us in terms of quarantining.
This is going to be the reverse order.
Quarantining partners. He definitely does not want you first, Jay. There is no.
Yes, he does. I'm the cleanest.
That's a great question. First of all, because all three of you have pretty good brain chemistry. Like, you're all pretty good. I think Darren and I would just fight a lot.
Be like the odd couple.
I love Darren to death, but I just think like we would just end up annoying each other. I think I would probably do Fred, Jay, Darren.
Winner!
Wow.
Finally, I win something.
But I don't. I know,
Good luck, Fred. You win.
Did I win?
I know more about.
Do you
Jay.
have to stay in his studio though? Do you have to stay in Fred's
the
current
dogs
apartment? And with,
Jay, Fred, Darren. I know more about. I know Fred as well as I know Jay. I mean, Jay and I could do quarantine well together because we get along a lot. And Jay,
you fight. You've been fighting all the time.
Jay and
All
I
right.
actually don't fight.
Oh,
All right, we gotta go. We gotta get to the awards.
Yeah.
All right.
Love you,
Till
Gary.
next time.
Bye. Love you
love
guys.
you, Gary.
Bye.
Oh, he removed himself, so now I just removed. All right, so here we are, the three of us. Let's go through it quick, okay? We went through the awards, so we're gonna start with the Chad. In my opinion, this is the most important award.
This, with the
I love it.
tightest.
I think it's you know it's again it's what I want the FDL to be.
This might be
most
the
of all.
hardest to win.
It's the hardest to win because there's no tangible stats to look at. It's about
No, it's just about keeping your cool. And once you get a way about you, it's hard to convince people that that's changed. Like, I'm never going to win this award, no matter how nice I am, because it's always going to be not Fred.
I won the award, dude. Anything's possible.
I don't know
man.
what
Anything's-
happened that year. I'm telling you, you may have been the only person that played that year.
No, I do get a bad rap. Miles is 100% right. I get a bad rap. Because of my position as the person in authority, sometimes I express my feelings too much. But I feel on the field, I absolutely try my best to be as diplomatic as possible. I fail. I'm a human being, but I do think this notion that I'm a beast, an asshole on the field is just completely false. Gary
I'd say that-
sometimes brings out the worst in me. That's true.
The top two vote getters this year, I could say they don't
wait.
fail.
Well, let's not jump to the top two yet. I want to go through this just briefly, and I do want to say that Fred, at some point when you're playing at 58, much like Gary is, you'll get the Susan Lucci Award. They'll just feel like an honorable career distinction for you will be made. So,
Awesome.
as far as the Gentleman of the Year, I want to start at the very bottom with the player that received one third-place vote. He voted for himself because he also feels very slighted in this category, and that's Deutsch Photography, Brett Deutsch.
Oh
For
my
some
God.
reason, he has this stigma of being a rough and tumble aggravator of all kinds, I guess. And
It's not
everybody-
for some reason.
Well, in
We
the
were talking
old
about
days-
Gary getting the fights. He has literally fought with every member of this league. I feel like.
Listen, I just know there was one year that I saw Gary before the season started. He said, I am going to do my best to win the Chad this year. I think it was the Gentleman of the Year award at the time.
So-
And it was literally the first game that he lost his cool and went nuts on somebody. And I just turned to him and I said, you lost.
But I just want to say one thing in defense of Brett. I think that we may need to carve out some sort of a new award for those in the Most Improved Gentleman of the Year award. So Brett's actually moving up as a gentleman as we move into deeper into his career.
He's
And
definitely
same
better
with
than
you,
he was, huh?
Same
He's
with you.
no,
You're in that
I-
category.
well, I'm trying to I'm trying my best to avoid the arguments and making my decisions. Trying to use my authority for that.
Most
in that
improved
purpose.
Chad.
Most
Yeah,
improved.
exactly.
But Brett has done a better job with ball placement. He is that for him is such a tough thing to not get involved, and he still loses. He forgets sometimes that he shouldn't be placing the ball anywhere because he sucks at it. But he's definitely done a better job at that. So
Okay.
Lewis actually just jumped in and said the sunglasses changed your demeanor, Darren.
but
He's right.
I'm so sensitive to the light. I have to put those on. You think they
I don't
make
know
me
if
more
he
like a?
means- I don't know if he thinks you get meaner or more aggressive with the glasses on.
Yeah.
Or with
It's
the
like when Stallone turned the hat and over the top. It just changes something.
All right. So we have Nigel and Akiva and Alexi and Darren. And, of course, we heard that Darren was the voter for Alexi's second place vote. Darren received second
By the way,
place. And a
is
third
Amanda
place vote.
cooking? Amanda has just been not. I can't even get mad at Fred because they live in a small apartment. But whatever. I mean, it's okay. We'll go on.
Here was one of the bigger surprises, at least for me, was Ben. Ben finished in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7th place, received 1 first place vote, 1 second place vote, and 2 third place votes. I thought Ben would have been much higher on this.
Ben should have been higher.
I
should have converted my Alexi vote to Ben at a minimum. I don't forget who else I voted for, but Ben it was awesome. I mean, he's just a delight on the field. Like I said, all the rookies were, but Ben certainly. I think the other rookies. Did you tell so where are we at in the review?
The roller
That was
screw was
7th place.
definitely
So the 6th place winner is Ola, who received a first place vote, a second place vote, and a third place vote. And I think this is just a function of him only playing in 6 games. I think he would have gotten a lot more votes had he been around for more of the games.
Well, there was that one game where he lost his shit a little.
No,
but that's because people accused him of cheating.
Right. And I thought he conducted himself just masterfully as he pushed aside certain people to argue with others and then refocused his attention on those that were challenging him and his
Jay stepping up his analysis of gentleman behavior.
I really appreciated the way that Ola conducted himself out there. I just think that because he only played in 6 games, he hurt himself here. But moving up the ladder, we have T, who got 2 first place votes, 1 second. Oh no second place and 2 thirds.
T should be an annual contender. He does make his like, that's what I'm about, and he'll talk trash,
which is fine. And the whole he'll call the penalty when there's no penalty. There wasn't even close, and he makes it a lot more fun. For some reason, he doesn't get those accolades for Gentleman of the Year, but I agree. I think he should get more of those. He's a lot of fun on the field, no matter what, and rarely does he ever get into anything with anybody.
Yeah, agree. T's great. Keep going.
In 4th place was the man who was the most gentlemanly before I got to the league, and that's Mushi, who everybody loves. He's the human clock for
Big
the
Ben.
FDL. And I think Big Ben, that's a good nickname for him. I like that.
If only he was
Ben
a Ben.
wasn't there. Yeah, exactly.
But how amazing, because he is completely fair to both sides when he does the clock.
He is.
He absolutely
Which is a little bit annoying when he's on.
It's
a little bit annoying when he's on your team and he's in the huddle, fucking counting down, and you're like, dude,
slow down.
Yeah, slow down and look at your route.
3 seconds.
Yeah. I took my share of criticism this year for acting immaturely in the end zone and losing my cool with Miles.
And your footing.
And my footing and my shoe. And, I'll have these moments. And it actually helped me. I had one of my best weeks that week.
Yeah.
I think I scored 3 touchdowns. So there's a part of me that thinks that if I were a little less of a gentleman, maybe I'd be more productive on the field. And so I've been dethroned. I'm very proud to be dethroned at this point. 3-time winner. So thank you all for the honor and the distinction. But I finished in 3rd. I still got my share of love and votes. I got 3 first place, 3 second place, and 2 third place votes. But I did not win this year's award. However, I will tell you, before I casted my ballot, which I wasn't sure whether or not it would be fair to do so, there was a 3-way tie for first between Avraham, Ryan, and me. And when I casted my ballot, I had a choice, which again I felt was unfair.
Already trying the pool for next year, gentleman, Chad.
I'm really well. It's always nice to get the chat, but I had to go with the guy, and I think that they're both deserving, and they could have shared this award. But I know how much Darren hates anything, and so I decided to go with my main man, an outstanding rookie. It's actually between 2 rookies, Abraham and Ryan, and the winner of the Chad,
the 2019-20
winner is Avraham. Congratulations, buddy.
Congratulations, Avraham. We're very proud and happy to have you in the league.
Yes, I am. It's one of the best things about you winning the Chad. Congratulations, Avraham Blot. Is that the way to pronounce? I don't even know how you pronounce your last name, but congratulations. But the best thing is that we get to talk to you because obviously we talked a lot about the other rookies, and you didn't get some of the attention and love and respect because of being overshadowed by Kivas Penis and the like. But well deserved, Abraham. You always are good for team morale and staying positive and focusing on all the good. And you were a consistent performer on the field as well, blocking Ryan, taking on some tough tasks, being a great tight end as receiver, and a true gentleman of the league.
Really got better as the year went along too. Especially as a receiver, he at the end of the year he was making some plays that were pretty impressive. So.
And Ryan, please don't feel slighted. You're apparently Gary's rock. So
Ryan is always
the Gary Ryan, you are the Gary Whisperer, and for anybody to play as well as you do and aggressively as you do, but to tone down your emotions and to get along with everybody out there is really a testament to you too. So congrats to you both, first and second place. Abraham, our gentleman of the year. Congrats.
Is it Akiva? Are you joking? It's not pronounced bleh, is it? He's saying it's pronounced bleh.
No.
Blah. Or what about blah? Yeah. All right. So, anyways, that's the Chad. Congratulations. I'm going to type that into my stat sheet right now, and you'll be officially put in. So let's go on to the next award there.
That would be.
You want to do most improved, Fred?
Yep.
I will take care of the most improved. So most improved, as we said earlier, there were 6 people who received votes. We'll start at the bottom. Lewis and Alexi both received 1 vote. I definitely think Lewis could have gotten more votes out of this, as him coming back was a great improvement. Players he went up against were greatly appreciative that he was a little less hands-on with his coverage. And overall, it was great to have him back. Alexi, every year, he's very steady. He was a little better this year than he was last year. Very happy to have him. T was in here. He had a good year. I've seen him have better years. But then again, you can put T on any one of these lists, really. He's that good of a player usually, and he got 5 votes. I don't have the breakdown of what he got. So, And then there was the top 3. It was close. The first place was decided by 6 votes. I'll let you know that Gary got 15 votes. He came in 3rd. He was back from his heart surgery.
Yeah, he was my number 1
very impressive.
Vote. I just think Jay wants to demean or minimize his heart procedure, whatever. But that I admire the grit for him coming back, and
I don't know if I'd come back from a surgery like that. I don't know if that's kind of interesting.
Well, you had your own surgery, and so maybe you go get into that.
Well, that's where we're going now, because I was up for this most improved, and apparently I didn't really know this until a while ago, and I thank Alexi for pointing it out to me. I scored 3 times as many touchdowns this year than I ever have before. And, I think that's a very much more improved year for me. I got 4 interceptions, which is, I only had 1 before. So I think my year was much, much improved. But to deservedly say, Jay had a great year. He had 4 rushing touchdowns.
I had
4
rushing touchdowns.
No,
3 rushing touchdowns.
3 rushing touchdowns.
Yeah.
The guy was on fire all year. And the winner of this year's most improved is Jay Zimner.
Congratulations
to Jay
most
Zimmer.
Improved. Congratulations, Jay.
I am not sore at all.
Nice.
Before you give your little speech, I just want to point out that another reason Jay should no longer be Gentleman of the Year award is because this ballot that he sent out was clearly slanted and designed to minimize Fred's accomplishment. I believe the wording in the ballot was like he was an all-right quarterback, and there was literally no mention of his 9 touchdowns or whatever he ended up having, 12 touchdowns on the year. And so, I thought that was a very subconscious. What the hell am I thinking? Subconscious way of Jay. I'm sure there was no intent there, but like we said, he's a little bit of a sociopath. He wanted this most improved, and so
he knew he wasn't getting to Chad, so he had to get something.
Alexi puts it. What I said in 4 minutes, Alexi said in 1 sentence. That ballot was so fucking rigged.
So I just want everyone to know that yes, Fred got lawyered a little bit by me, and I don't know how intentional it was or subconscious.
I don't think it was intentional.
But I want the league to understand that I was given responsibility for putting together the media report or whatever you want to call it.
Hold on.
And
You asked for the responsibility to put.
I did.
And I appreciate it. Totally
And it was a great thing because there was no way I was
Okay.
doing that.
I sent these two gentlemen, Darren and Fred, the write-up before I sent it out to all of you. So for them to now criticize me is a little unfair. It's a little shaky, but
Hence why we don't
I
win the
do
chat.
agree.
I didn't even
I
notice
did
it until afterwards.
I just want to read to you what
took a
Alexi
Lexi.
wrote because I thought it was just perfect, and we can end on that. On this note, Fred, why didn't we list Fred's increase in touchdowns from 4 to 12 while also playing quarterback half of the time? Do we forget his dominance in the beginning of the season? More than adequate quarterback in parentheses was the write-up. I
I
don't
love
want to
you,
say the
Alexi.
ballot
Thank you
was
so
rigged
much.
to get Jay the win, but it was.
That's Alexi for you.
To Fred and Jay and then
Listen,
Gary.
doesn't make him wrong either.
Yeah, well, congratulations, Jay. Honestly, when
Thank you, man.
I was often matched up against you because I'm often going against the not top player, but I'm still at least covering ostensibly, and it was often you, and it was very clear that you were faster, you were stronger. If I was up against you in the line, you had more, just more of an impact in every game, and you're always
Jay has
up.
a great second move.
Yeah, he
Thank you guys. That's very nice.
That's
of
what
you.
she
Thank
said.
you.
And
Yeah.
all right, so anyway, congratulations,
Next.
Jay. Go
Thank
next.
you, Darren. Thank
Best
you, guys.
rookie.
Yeah.
This is an exciting race. It was a close one.
Go for it, Jay.
Jay,
This was
hit
this was phenomenal. I'll just give you let you know that all of our rookies received votes very deservingly. Chris YG and Ola, only because I feel like they failed to appear in as many contests as some of our rookies who received more votes. Again, both a delight to play with and both exceptional athletes, Ola and Chris YG. We hope to see a lot more of you next year. In fourth place, our Gentleman of the Year, Avraham, a beast on the line, the only guy willing to go up against consistently one of our best, if not our best defensive linemen in Ryan Baxter.
The best.
And the best, and maybe the best ever, because had we not had a COVID-19
I'm still the
short
best.
season, Fred's sack total would have been absolutely destroyed. So
We don't know that. He won 5 games without getting a sack. Or
That's
something
right.
Like that.
It depended on his
You
weed
can't,
usage.
you can't say that for sure, and that's why he's
you know
not
what?
the best
I guess
yet.
Avraham would have decided
Keeping that for
whether
at
or
least
not
6 more months.
Avraham would have decided whether or not your sack total would have stayed intact. But
True.
Avraham, fourth place, very, very well deserved. Great year. In third place, Akiva received a Gary vote for first place rookie of the year, and you voted for Gary as most improved. So there's a little love affair brewing between Akiva and Gary that I'm sensing just based on the ballots. Akiva, you had a great year. As Darren mentioned to you, I think in some sort of a response or a recap of some sort, once you get to know or maybe it was last week's podcast, he just mentioned once you get a little bit more accustomed to toning it down in certain areas and getting a greater understanding of your body and your athleticism, you'll be able to
Aside
avoid
from your
injuries.
penis, we understand your.
I'm staying away from the penis.
Well, no, he's apparently very well familiar with the penis. So other parts of your body, very few
Well,
penis injuries in the FDL. You don't have to worry about that.
Thank God.
Yeah, but
Yeah, I just want to say that had Akiva played in more games, I don't know which direction this Rookie of the Year would have come down on. But then we have the two who we interviewed 2 weeks ago, Ryan and Ben. And again, examples of different strengths, different skills, but both, man, when they're out on the field, they are game changers. Fred and I would always have difficulty deciding which team to place them on because of those things. And I thought that this was going to come right down the line, and I would have loved to have seen them share this award. However,
Yeah.
there is a winner of the Rookie of the Year. And this person received 11.5 because I voted Ryan and Ben co-Rookie of the Years, but it didn't make any difference. With 11.5 first place votes, 6.5 second place votes, no third place votes, the winner of the FDL 2019-2020 Rookie of the Year is Ryan Baxter. Congratulations.
Congratulations, Ryan. Very good.
I
Definitely
Congratulations,
deserved.
Ryan.
Definitely
The
deserved.
the vote came down pretty close. Ryan had 44 total points. Ben had 36 total points, and Akiva had 11.
Sorry, Ben, I tried, man.
Yeah, I think they're
Ben,
both
you had an
super
awesome
deserving.
I felt they were both super deserving. I definitely cast my first ballot vote for Ben. I thought he was consistent all year and just a shocking add to every team, defensively and offensively, everywhere. But you can't say either one of those guys don't deserve.
Can
to
I just make one distinction here for Ben? Yeah. He is the finest Jewish athlete in the FDL.
Okay.
Is that fair to say?
I mean, I mean, the competition is
old.
It's you,
yeah.
Akiva.
The competition is old.
Gary, Brett. I mean, I don't think you need to define people in that way, Jay. He's a terrific athlete.
I was trying to be funny. Sorry.
Oh, I didn't think it was.
Can't do that in 2020 anymore. All right.
I don't even think it's funny.
He goes into the
Akiva is super offended.
Yeah.
All right. Well, anyways, congratulations, Ryan. Congratulations, Ben and Akiva and the rest of the rookies. Like I said, incredible class. It bodes super well for the FDL in coming years. Hopefully, we'll get on path next year in timely fashion. But congratulations to Ryan, especially for winning the award. And then finally, the final award. This is like what
I thought Ben was the worst of the three Walrus brothers. I thought he was going to be the least effective in the first game.
Yeah, he started with.
I thought Ben was going to be doo-doo, and he turned out to be a shining star in the league. So.
Yeah, even not so much into the league. Like when he started catching the receptions, I was like, how the hell is this guy catching all these? It was like I didn't quite understand it. And yeah, he knew where to be. He's a very smart player, and definitely was terrific. And enough love for Ben though, because Ryan won the award. So congratulations, Ryan. And finally, this feels like the Academy Awards, because I expected we were going to be done a half hour ago with everything, and here we are, and this is it, the best film of the year. This is the major award, the MVP, most valuable player of the year. Fred, you want to go for it?
Well,
or Jay? I don't care. Whoever.
The MVP.
We can do it together. Yeah.
Okay,
all right, go one at a time.
The MVP had votes coming to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 players.
No, 7 players.
Quarterback play this year was down, without a doubt. Defense was definitely the name of the game this year. So it doesn't surprise me that there are votes for quarterbacks on the bottom. Nigel, Miles, and Darren all getting votes. Nigel had 8, Miles had 3, Darren had 3, and Ola got 1 vote. He's all the way on the bottom. He played just enough games to qualify. I think he will be in the running for this award if he plays more next year, but this year he just didn't have enough. So if you want to take the top 3, Jay.
Yeah, sure. This probably doesn't come as much of a surprise as they were touted as favorites in our earlier podcast and in our write-up. But the top 3 vote getters, again, were Ryan, Ben, and Lewis. And that's
Amanda's killing me, by the way. Amanda's killing me with this. What is she doing in there? All right, go on.
Anytime you have 2 dominant rookies like Ryan and Ben, they're going to receive consideration for this major award here in the FDL. But I think that certain people have different criteria. There were occasional ballots which didn't have Ryan or Ben listed at all, which was surprising. But again, maybe most surprising, or maybe it shouldn't be surprising at all, was the ton of support that we saw ballot after ballot for the best player in the league, Lewis, who was a victim of.
Did we announce it? Did you just announce the winner? No.
Oh, well, I kind of did. Yeah. So anyway,
congratulations, Lewis. You are by far the clear-cut MVP winner.
2 toilet paper rolls for you, Lewis. 2 toilet paper
rolls for you.
Yeah.
It wasn't really close.
It wasn't even close.
It wasn't close at all, actually.
And most well-deserved.
Player out there, and we hope you come back and continue to be who you are and what you're about. We don't have to rehash or go back over. You came back and you did your thing, and you continued to play as remarkably as you did before you left for the 4 or 5 game hiatus that you took. You're an exceptional athlete, exceptional player, and I took exception to Gary's comment that Jeff Kraft was the greatest FDL player of all time, because I would love to see Lewis go against this Jeff Kraft guy.
Yeah.
I wasn't there during Jeff Kraft's years, but
You can't com-
there's no
you can't
MVP
compa-
like Lewis.
Yeah, you can't compare eras. You know, it's tough to
But
do.
you can't compare players.
But it's tough. I mean, like peak Jeff versus peak Lewis. I mean, I've never seen an athlete like Lewis on our field before. Period.
Exactly.
End of story.
So
And what he can do is, as a quarterback, you just appreciate it immensely, because there are balls that I will throw up there.
here's the thing: you don't have to compare eras, because Lewis dominates this era, and he most definitely would have dominated that era. So, like, it doesn't matter what era he plays in; he was going to be the most dominant player no matter what.
Yeah, well, I think that's probably true. But again, 24 touchdowns this year, winning percentage of 769, almost 2 touchdowns a game. He caught 9 interceptions. He had 5 either pick sixes or kickoffs returned for touchdowns, and a couple sacks. And he won 3 weekly MVPs. It was another dominant performance. He's a step above people right now in terms of ability on the
One
field,
step.
and he brings it every week. He doesn't take weeks off, and super impressive. So sorry that Jay pulled like a moon. What was the award that they like totally messed up? Like they either announced
Best Picture.
Yeah,
that was Faye Dunaway.
Yeah.
Dunaway. She read the wrong name.
This is Jay Dunaway. Didn't read the wrong name, but Lewis, well done. I wish we could bring you on here and give a little speech. Do you want to say anything, Lewis?
He's been writing. I'm coming back, but only to make Jeff Kraft an afterthought.
Love it.
That was
I
his
love
comment.
it. Everyone is saying well deserved, and it really was. And congratulations.
Yeah, I want Lou to know, since he's on here watching, that you received 13 first place votes, and Ryan, who took second in this MVP race, had 3. So a runaway win for Lou.
Very well deserved. I mean, there was no other choice.
And clearly, the 3 that voted against Lewis were Miles. I actually don't know, but to me, you look at the stats.
Yes, thank you, Miles. Steve Harvey.
Steve Harvey was the Miss Universe where he totally fucked that up. Yeah. Anyways, thanks everyone for joining us. This is not the same as playing football. It's another beautiful fucking Sunday, and I mean, it's like Alexi mentioned earlier. Like, can we, like, if we promise not to like touch our faces, can we just go out there and toss a football around? I'd love to, man. I mean, what? I muted you, Fred. Sorry, I don't know what happened there.
That's me. I muted it.
Oh.
We'll all wear full face masks.
Full face. Yeah, we might need to invest next year. The fees might go up because I'm gonna have to buy face masks for everyone. Are you
going to wash them too every week?
What's that?
Are you going to wash them too every week?
No. you get to keep them and wash them. But I mean, we're gonna have to figure out something. I mean, I'm worried about the field because I don't. Fred, they haven't started work on the field, right? I'm assuming
they have not done anything to the field as of yet. So we're probably looking at running into at least the beginning of the season with that field. Now, if they do it at all now, because we don't know what's going to happen.
Darren, don't you have an alternative field though?
I don't have a alternative field. No,
yeah, you're following those backyard out in Roslyn.
I mean,
is it big enough?
Unfortunately, my friend.
I don't. Yeah, so I don't know. No, we don't have an alternative field at all. I mean, I'm assuming they'll work with us to try and find us one, but we may have to reach out to people. I think maybe Avraham has said he knows someone in the Parks Department. I mean, Denzel, who's played in our league, used to work there. I don't know if he still does. It's gonna be a challenge with COVID and possible field restoration work, but
maybe the Walrus brothers can let me know if there's an area up at Yeshiva that they know of that might be good for it if we need a field, because I know the guy that runs the place over there from working down the elevators. I might be able to ask him if we can get in up there. If they know something up there. I don't think there's anything up there, but worth a shot.
Okay. Yeah. I don't know. But anyways, love you. Miss you all. Thanks for joining us. This was another fun broadcast. Thank you so much to Jay for putting together the ballot and tallying all the votes, and It was an awesome job, and
Good job,
another huge
Thanks.
help.
Robbed.
Even if it was rigged, it was for me. For me, it wasn't meaningful. For Fred, may feel differently. Fred, thank you for co-hosting and being part of this and getting my act together. A lot of times I was dropping the ball, and you kept me on top of things. Amanda, I'm coming over for whatever you're cooking because it better be fucking good.
It will.
What?
Be. It will
Okay.
be.
All right.
Darren,
Hey, everyone.
Darren, I just want to thank you as well and take a moment to do that. You put so much heart and soul into this league, and you've done so for so many years. I think this was the 15th official year of the FDL, and without you, none of us would be able to enjoy and appreciate the camaraderie and the competition every Sunday between September and March. So thank you.
My pleasure, man. I mean, I do it because I love it. And I love the community. I love the game, and everything about it is awesome. And it's the people that make it happen. And I'm, like I said,
Luke
Face
just
shields
made
and
a
meat
great
shields.
comment. Face shields and meat shields.
yeah, that's what I'm leaving up there. Alexi says you just leave this up there as the final comment. Face shields and meat shields. Perfect summary of the FDL 2019-2020
Shortened season.
Shortened season. Congratulations to all the winners.
Way to go,
And-
everybody.
And
Maybe 3 weeks from now we'll do another podcast.
Someone
if we're
mentioned
still stuck at home.
Miles mentioned weekly broadcasts. I mean, weekly is a stretch, but
Bi-weekly?
I think Jay and Fred, we enjoy doing this, and we love having people on and doing interviews. We could do different people. It's fun. So
Maybe
we'll,
interview some of the winners next time.
Yeah.
that's true, and we'll definitely have something as we get closer to the next season. So everyone, enjoy your summer. Stay safe, stay sane, and see you next time.
And guys, reach out if you need
Thanks,
anything.
guys.
Tough times for all.
Yeah,
Be
reach
well.
out seriously.
Love you all.
People may be going through stuff. Definitely let us know. All right, later.
Bye.
Take care, guys.
Good job.
Yeah, you too, Fred. Take it easy, man.